This is exactly what we've been waiting for, as the new poll for college football has been released this afternoon, and it exposes exactly what Ohio State fans knew was going to happen, expected to happen, and what we wanted to happen. And we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Columbus Football 365. If you're an Ohio State Buckeyes football fan, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into the news for today. Coming from Fox Sports, Ohio State is the number one team in the ranking. Fox Sports writes, Ohio State is the first team to take over the top spot in the first regular season poll since Alabama in 2012. It was the biggest jump to number one in the first regular season poll since USC was promoted from number 3 back in 2008. So what that is talking about is it is pretty much just talking about how usually the number one preseason ranked team does not lose the first game. Usually whoever is going to be that preseason ranked number one team is going to remain number one after 1 week of college football. This season, of course, it was different because Texas decided that they were going to schedule the defending champs with their first game of the year. Didn't go very well for them. We can see on the screen right now, screenshotted from the website of ESPN. Great, obviously great website. Ohio State at number one after taking out the University of Texas, who drops all the way down to number 7. They're not all the way out of it. Of course, it was a non-conference matchup. Ohio State's in the Big Ten. Texas out of the SEC doesn't have the biggest implications as it possibly could have. But if one of those teams don't win their respective conference, then this game would come into play as potentially a head-to-head tiebreaker to figure out which one of these teams deserves a spot over the other one in the end. Hopefully, of course, that it doesn't come down to that for Ohio State. Hopefully, we can just go ahead and win the Big Ten. It's going to be tough with Penn State breathing down our necks and whatever Dante Moore and Dan Lanning and Oregon have cooking. They got a first place vote for some reason. Don't know what they did. Could have possibly done to deserve that, but they got it. But looking at what happened, one of the main reasons of why this was possible is Julian Sayin, our new quarterback, starting his first ever game, putting up a 65% completion percentage, only 126 yards and 1 touchdown. But you know what I call that? I call that enough. Texas has a fantastic defense. They have one of the best linebackers in all of college football, someone who's supposed to be going in probably the top half of the first round coming into the 2026 NFL draft whenever we are ready for that. So our offense, we had to make sure we kept it nice and safe, simple, easy reads for Julian Sayin. He's got Jeremiah Smith. He has all of the other guys around. He's got Max Clare, the new transfer coming in. He's got Carnell Tate. For some reason, blanked on his name. Got Carnell Tate, who made a tremendous catch deep down the left side of the field. Little kind of a double catch, a little bit of a bobble. It was pretty solid defense. But speaking of defense, one of the number one reasons why Ohio State, why we were able to be ranked number one overall, even though we have a super inexperienced quarterback over experienced quarterbacks like Garrett Nussmeier from LSU, like Drew Allers, Penn State, is because of our defense. Matt Patricia put on an absolute clinic against Arch Manning. Remember, I don't have these stats in front of me, but everyone remembers how rookie quarterbacks always did terribly against Bill Belichick-led defenses. So it makes sense that what pretty much amounts to a rookie quarterback in Arch Manning, only starting his third game and his first real game, he did very, very poorly against Matt Patricia, our new DC, and the old defensive coordinator for Mr. Bill Belichick. But looking at what we have now going forward here on the schedule gets a lot easier. It's awesome to open up with a game against Texas because win or lose, it's a measuring stick game. You figure out exactly where you stand as a program. Of course, when we are coming off of a national championship, we feel like we're on top of the world. But at the same time, you have to be realistic and understand that the defense lost Jack Sawyer. We lost JTT. We lost Tyleik Williams. We lost big-time defensive linemen. And we send a lot of people every single year to the NFL. That's part of being a blue blood program. But also part of being the blue blood program is recruiting really, really well and bringing young guys in who can step up and fill the shoes of those other guys that moved out. And JTT, I saw him on the sidelines, and I'm sure he was so proud of the way that our defense was able to stand up on the goal line. Arch Manning, don't let the last name fool you. He is a dual threat quarterback, and they tried to run him over and over again on the goal line, but our defense held strong and made sure he was not able to find his way into the end zone, and which is how we made that 4th down stop, making it the score as low as it possibly could have. Steve Sarkisian, the head coach of the University of Texas, great head coach, for whatever reason, didn't have a game plan that looked ready to play at all. But part of that, I'm positive, is the fact that we have what has to be right now the #1 defense in college football. I haven't heard anyone who knows what they're talking about say a different defense was better than what we got cooking right now. So let me actually talk about the schedule. Grambling State, that's, should be very, very easy. Then we head to we're going to play Ohio out of the MAC. Again, another game that should be easy. And then that's when after that game, we will be getting into the Big Ten schedule. That's when the games really matter, because in the new college football playoff, one of the awesome things are the automatic qualifiers. And if you do not win your non-conference games, you can just, if you're in a Power 4 conference, just win your conference. You're going to put yourself into the playoffs. Of course, matters a lot more for smaller schools, people who aren't, or teams who aren't ranked as highly as Ohio State is. But when the games really matters, when those letters start coming in. You can see on the schedule, honestly, what's kind of interesting is, 4 of the next 5 games, the logos of the schools is just a letter. But Washington, Minnesota, Illinois, that's when the games really start to matter. Washington beat Colorado State, but wasn't able to cover the spread. Not super worried about what they got going on after Kalen DeBoer left them I guess last season was his first season not at Washington. They're still rebuilding. Minnesota, they don't really give me enough of a reason to be afraid of them. But then Illinois is the first real game coming up on the schedule in October. Luke Altmaier, great quarterback, but I would expect him to play worse than Arch Manning when we are going to be rolling out a defense in the way that we are going to be rolling out a defense against him that we are. Like, what I'm trying to say is our defense is so good, it doesn't matter what quarterback we're going to be going up against. I don't care that Luke Altmaier was able to upset an SEC team in his bowl game last season. I don't care that Illinois is ranked 11th in the country. We are coming, and we can, #1 ranking means we are going to absolutely destroy everyone. And something important that not enough people are talking about is we are ranked #1 in the country right now while Julian Sayin is still developing. People are saying that voters are voting that Ohio State is the best football team in the country. And this team is going to get better every single week, because Julian Sayin is going to develop further and further every single week. He only put up 126 yards passing because we were not asking him to do a lot because it's his first game. You don't want to put too much on his plate, especially when you're playing an elite defense like Texas. So it was the right thing to hold him back a little, make sure we ran the ball a lot. I don't want to say just get out of the game, but against the #1 at the time ranked team, you like just getting out of the game with a win, right? That always, I'll take the wins. I don't care if it's pretty. We'll take the wins. Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate are going to make playing quarterback extremely easy for Julian Sayin. He is going to continue to develop, and none of these games that we got in the near future are anything, they really shouldn't be a problem. We really should not have a problem going out and just stacking wins. I guess we will see if we get upset, but let's go ahead and take the hype train all the way back to the college football playoff and hopefully to another national championship. But that's what I got for this video. So if you watch this video for this long, thank you for watching. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and go Buckeyes.